Good evening, everybody. Woo! Bricks Thursday Night Live. Fazoom is not here tonight. It is Jake, his son's 16th birthday. They are celebrating, eating some cake, having dinner, all that good stuff. So we've got some of the usual guys here. We got Jeff, Dana, Matthew, other Jeff, and we got Boone with us tonight. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
So, since you're new on the show this evening, tell us what's happening in your Lego world.
Well, I've been waiting for parts. 2 weeks now have put off the project that I wanted to publish on my own channel because I'm just waiting for parts. And so, last week I threw a Hail Mary and ended up publishing something that I was really pleased with. This week I'm having to do it again, and it's just not. I can't do it 2 weeks in a row. So I'm a little discouraged about that, but it is what it is, and I continue to wait for parts, and I continue to improvise until the parts that I need come in, and so I'm working on something else. So actually, part of the reason I'm here is I want to try to compete for Chris's birthday competition. So I just started building something for that. He told me about the standards for the spacecraft, and I'm going to see what I can come up with.
Cool. Sounds good.
So Boone, you've raised a very good point, and I'm gonna take this moment to bring it up and make Mark talk a little bit. So what are those criteria since I missed Monday and nobody wants to tell me?
Matthew, do you have the bricks? I think Matthew has the bricks sitting around somewhere. He made a stack out of them.
Nobody told you, Dana?
No, as a matter of fact, I keep asking them, like, so guys, what's the criteria? And they're like, well, that's what you get for not showing up on Monday. And I'm like, come on now.
We use the non-reproducible drawing method of me dumping bricks in this cup and shaking them and then fishing them out.
Nice.
But, so we have three colors. We've got the dark gray, and then sand green and orange for our color palette, and then for canopies or whatever, we have the clear, trans-clear. So that's the requested color scheme for the spaceship contest.
So wait a minute here, man. Hang on a minute. So you're telling me that you randomly picked colors out of a cup, and 3 of them are colors I build with all the time?
And that's why I was like, Dana's not even here. And I said, boy, wait till he hears about what happened. And then we're texting, and he's like, what? What do you guys? And I'm like, orange. And he's like, and I was like, somebody didn't do their homework and watch the show that he missed on Monday.
I mean, all I really got to do is take out the windshield and throw some green accents, and I'm done.
That's cheating, Dana. That's cheating.
All right, I'll make a completely new one.
You don't even need to dye your canopies yellow. I mean,
I know I can put her. I know you were just saving time for me here.
So Fazoom has joined us in the chat for a minute, just to say.
Chris, we needed a guy with a beard, and you weren't here, so we brought in a new one.
Here I am, and I didn't even have to dye this beard yellow.
So also in the chat, we got Brett Hooper, Meredith joining us as well. We got Brick Smith, we got Jesse's Brick Galaxy, Larry Legond, Matt Robbins, Chris Harbor. Golly, there's a lot of you this evening. I saw Brom up there somewhere, Professor Goat, Seti Braun, Classic Bricks. I think that's everybody. Hello, everybody. And Brom has a pointer for you. Listen to Dr. Brom.
So Brom, you're right, except for the fact that Mark has been giving me a hard time with the fact that I haven't watched The Boys yet, and I haven't caught up on The Expanse yet, and he is expecting me to go back and watch an episode of a show that I'm normally on. And I hear when I'm not on, it's not as talkative anyway, so I don't know, maybe if I need help falling asleep.
Suddenly another Canadian. We have
Canadian.
now.
Hey, yo.
We're taking over this joint.
Oh, nice shirt, eh?
That's right. How's everyone?
We're good. How are you?
Good.
Should we put Gil on the spot since he just walked in the door?
Sorry? What's that?
I said we're going to put you on the spot because you just walked in the door.
Oh, what am I doing?
What are you doing?
Do you need to wake up? Did you just have a nap?
Oh, it was close. It was almost there. Yeah. Actually, I got
what's
something.
happening? Do you have anything new or interesting and Lego-ish to show us?
I do, and it's going to infuriate you. So even better.
Great.
But he has been doing some awesome action figure photography on his Instagram, which have been perfecto.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that's his hobby du jour.
Hobby du jour or shtick? As we
All
like.
right, Mark. Get ready. Get ready to gnash the teeth.
Whoa, that's some castles. Some castles.
A bunch of castle stuff.
Sorry,
But
buddy.
they're on the moon.
It's like I don't know you anymore.
It's like you've already won the vote for Lego's 90th anniversary.
I know.
Womp womp.
Do you even know how to space?
Do I need to pull something else out just to
Whoa,
prove it?
Whoa! What are you pulling out?
Just that Chris isn't here.
Something big and spacey. Yeah. Well, actually, I can't reach anything, so you'll have to take my word.
I'm just waiting for Dana to suggest you reach around and get it. But
Well,
Hey,
so long as he's not shining any more light on his tenders, that's just fine.
You're all horrible people, and we have a guest and everything, and you're just like, whatever, it's fine. I'm sorry, Boone. I didn't know that there'd be hijinks. Nobody tells me.
I
All right. Well, Fazoom says he'll check back when Jake needs to Fortnite more than family interaction. So yeah, it's got the teenager who's going to go do his own teenagery thing at some point. So there's Rich tuning in from Phone Cam. Hey, Rich.
Hey, Rich.
Hi.
All right.
Guess what?
Let's see.
You're in the garage?
they had a discount on feathered hair styles at the salon.
Yeah, hippie.
He's frozen.
And
Yeah, he froze up on it.
Yep.
Denver frozen.
That hair's
switch
gonna be
network.
perfect
Hey!
until he unfreezes.
Welcome to my empire.
Oh wow.
That's a lot.
Here, let's blow that up. Hey, rotate his landscape there, buddy. Bam.
There we go.
There you go. All right. Yeah.
That's my front door for the business.
Wow.
Nice.
Let's, I think.
Whoop. Yep.
Where's the small parts room?
I sort of hope the business doesn't require a good Wi-Fi connection.
Well, maybe Rich will reconnect to the. Jeff VW, what's up with you, buddy?
I'm muted. That's good. Not much. Just lots of building the past few weeks, trying to build a classic space style hanger to fit in one of these IKEA shelves. One of these type of
cool.
IKEA shelves. So, pre-orders already waiting to come in. So I'm getting to the point now where I'm going to have to stop building for a while and put this on the shelf, literally, until some more parts come in. But I'm doing what I can in the meantime. So
I've been following that a bit as you've been posting. Okay, because I'm gonna say it looks like something moves on there every time I see it. It looks like there's gonna be something traversing it.
it is static. It will be a static display, obviously, because I'm not going to put holes in my walls.
Yeah.
But I've got a shelf, and it's earlier in my Instagram feed. There's a shelf with this monorail, some cargo containers, this cargo carrier that I have that has the containers, so that'll kind of go over here.
Right.
And the train cars. Hold on, let me grab those. Stay. And then some train container cars.
Oh, what happened?
Did you lose me totally there for a little bit?
Yeah, you dropped out. It froze up.
Okay, I could try it again. That's a pop out for displays. That should be closed off at some point for storage. That's my front door for my business. That's another pop out for display. Everything from back here will be storage. This area should be display area. And then with the exception of the pop out, this will all be sales.
Yeah.
I think
Nice.
I'll have a little cash wrap here. And I'm going to try to build a Duplo fireplace right here in red Duplo brick.
Awesome.
You know, for Christmas.
Of course, the relevant question we have is, where is the small parts room?
It's all going to be here.
So just make sure
All
you
going to be here.
just make sure you put like a little day bed or something like that for the bed and breakfast people to be able to sleep on when they come for the small parts room.
Yeah. So if I'm thinking correctly, at least 2 Alex drawer things. 1, 2, all the way down, and then another row, and then a row behind it.
So a little mini warehouse.
Yeah, basically.
Cool.
And then small parts will probably be along this wall here that I'm going to make.
Well, we look forward to seeing as the build out happens.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask you the same thing I ask anyone I know who's had a small business they're starting up. What part of the sales floor is going to be this sort of like walled off corner with this sort of beaded curtain in front of it, and above it it says adults only or 18 plus?
Employees only.
No.
Adult fans of Lego.
Yeah, AFOLs only.
AFOLs only? It'll
AFOLs
probably
at
be right
first.
about here.
Yeah.
Right about here, because that'll be where you access the parts area.
Nice. So is it we're talking parts? Is it going to be like a pick a brick sort of thing, or like Rich's greatest hits, or like what?
Rich's bricks.
Okay.
Rich's bricks that he'll lease to the store along with the display.
Okay.
So this is just a giant tax write-off?
Yes, exactly. You've got it, Matt. Enjoy.
You know
It's
that
all
this is
becoming
recorded in public, right?
But it's legal. It's totally legal.
Sounds a little gray to me.
No. I'll have stuff for sale. I didn't realize we have Boone on him today. Hi, Boone.
Just
Hey,
wait
Rich.
till you-
How you doing?
It's all legal until you get featured in a Bernie Sanders commercial.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So,
I'll have
so
stuff for sale.
Rich, when you popped out, and then you popped back in, you kind of circumvented Jeff for a second. I want to go back to Jeff's build for a minute because we got to talk about the fact that you're building up around supports around that monorail track, which is freaking fantastic.
Yeah, these parts are going to be gone. I'm going to send something from the ceiling.
Oh, it's going to hang from the ceiling?
Or do you mean the actual tray with the trash in?
Yeah, see if you can.
Sorry.
See if you can bring that up a little closer for so you will see. Because on Instagram, or I think it was Facebook, I saw those. Just freaking awesome.
Oh, that's cool.
So, and then the curve. So I've got these on order in light gray, and they'll basically fill in all this. And it's just hinged on the one side, and then 1x3 on the, because it's a hollow stud, so it's just 1x3 plate there, and it'll give it the curve. They do drop away a bit on the underside. Well, you can kind of see. Oh, I'll do it this way. That would make sense.
Yeah.
They do drop away a bit, so I think what I was going to do is run the flexible hoses through the holes.
Right.
All the way through, and I hope that'll give it enough
Extra stability.
so it won't drop away.
Cool.
That looks awesome, Jeff. I love that.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
neat.
thanks.
Yeah, that's neat.
And then I'm just gonna run it. I've purposely curved it so that it'll run out behind a little bit, just because, like I said, a spaceship's gonna go right here, so I don't want anything like the track will end Sorry, I should move this out of the way. The truck will end at this point, and then I'll have one module here for the actual ship to sit on. But as I'm building, grab this guy again. Oops. Ignore the sound of Lego falling. As I'm building, I'm realizing that I built these years ago. These little, actually, hold on, this is a better one. I'm ripping things apart. So these little containers are basically the old cylinders, and then just like some brick in the middle. Oh, that's a better view right there, right?
Gotcha.
Years ago, I built it with just some plates on the back, and I now realize that we have the 2x6 with the curved side. So I've ordered some of those. I'm looking at some of the stuff I built, like again, 5-10 years ago, and I'm probably going to rebuild or redesign some of these just to make them a little bit more smoother and modern space. I don't know if that's a thing, but you know what I mean.
So Jeff,
Yeah.
following you on Instagram, it seems like this has come together pretty quickly. Maybe that's an incorrect perception, but how long have you been working on this design?
I started it just after I reorganized the room, because that's when I got the idea. So I've started it over the past, probably within the last week and a half.
Okay, that is fast.
Yeah, I have a fairly good size selection of parts. So for me, it's a lot of like, as soon as I get the inspiration, I can just build. And I sometimes I pre-design, other times I just build and rebuild and tear down and things like that. But if I have the parts handy, I can be fairly quick at building something. I've torn it apart twice already, so sections of it. So I probably will do the same again for some bits.
Very cool. Very cool.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's been really fun to follow on social media.
Yeah, I was very impressed with the way that curve went around that monorail track.
Me too. I was surprised when I realized that worked. And the problem is you can't go any higher. Like for this particular train, I can't go any higher than 2 plates. On this curve, the studs hit ever so slightly. So I really wish that we had one for tiled hinge. With one of these, put it in front of the camera, that would help. One of these with the tile instead of studded.
Yeah.
Because that would just make life a little bit easier. But you do what you have to do.
Right.
Lego math. Sometimes it bites you.
It's also amazingly awesome. So.
Yep. Matthew, Mr. Burger Boy, what you got working in your world today?
Yeah, so I've gotten a bunch of parts orders in the last week, 2 small ones, but like one of the things. So you guys have seen the bubblegum headquarters that I've been working on. Let me back this up so we get it in the camera. And so I hadn't done much. I was kind of waiting for some more parts, and guess who gave me a whole bunch of more pink pieces for my building in the store window? So I got more roof tiles. I'm probably going to redo the roof now. But you're
welcome, by the way.
When I was building this, I was like, oh, I need a pink door frame. So that just arrived in my latest bricks and pieces. So I'm going to pop this open, and I'm going to use all my new pink bricks to build an interior wall. Right now, there's no floor. It's just one giant interior. And because the front of it is so transparent, a lot of times I don't bother filling in the interior. But with this one, I will fill it in, because if I take it to a show, you can easily see inside. So I'm going to build a support beam up the middle, and then I'll put a floor at some point, and I'll have to pick, because obviously the floor will bisect the building, horizontally. So I'll have to sort of decide where that's going to fit. But so I got the raw materials in to advance this project. And then the other one that I've been working on the last couple days is my Bob's Burgers. And so I had built the first floor, I don't know, like a year ago. And then I had stopped. And I got some more lime green and yellow parts in recently. So some of these new tiles that come in the half circle shape or the full circle, the raised grills. And so I'm trying to flesh this in and make it look, at least so that at a glance it kind of resembles the TV show. Bob's Burgers is a big hit at our house, and if I complete it, I kind of want to build the blue building next to it. And if you watch the show, you'll already know this, but for the people who don't watch Bob's Burgers, every episode, the building on the right-hand side is this big blue building, and the signboard changes every single episode. So it's a new store, and every single signboard is a bad pun. And so I would love to like make up a series of, signs that I could swap out at a show and have like 3 or 4 different bad pun store titles adjacent. And so this is coming along. The top of this has caused me some agony the last 24 hours. I was working on this last night. I posted, a picture Instagram. I was trying different window treatments. I'm trying to keep the horizontal. So if you ever look at the cartoon shot of the front of the building, it has very strong horizontal lines. And so I'm trying to keep that feel. And there's also rounded elements. So, I can't mimic it exactly, but I'm trying to give it some of the same feel that you see in the cartoon of the intro. So that's where I am. I've got these 2 buildings, and they're kind of both in process. And of course, I was joking last night that whenever you're building something and you need 8 of it, you only have 7. So I was like playing around with using some of these yellow ladders. Maybe I'll put them up against the lime green for a nice little color contrast. And I started counting them out, and I realized that I was 1 yellow ladder short. So I don't know. Hey, another Bricklink order. What do you know? I'm almost caught up on my bricks and pieces. I think they're all in the mail right now. So you know what that means? It's time to place another order.
Have you thought on your bubble building? Have you considered actually making the second story a series of terraces, so that you like with a staircase going all along the back?
So you're talking more about like this side?
No, on the interior, like the floor of your second story. You were talking about how the floor, the floor between your first story and second story will have to like cut your windows somewhere. But what if the entire second floor was terraces that matched where those windows lie?
I'm with you, Boone. I like, yeah.
So they would be different for each window?
Yeah. So it would literally be like if you imagine.
But the other way, like going with your windows, yeah, just like that.
And maybe there's like a staircase up to the lowest section of the second floor, and then another staircase that goes all the way along the second floor. Like, what is it? A factory or is it a store?
Headquarters. So it's just I was thinking about maybe making some kind of bubblegum shop in the entering level, and then the upstairs would be like a office layout or something like that. But I'm not firm on that. I could change.
Yeah, cool. Well, I love it. I love the shape of the buildings.
Ironically, the guys here know I'm semi obsessed with like pieces of new colors and rare colors. And when I buy a lot of friend sets just to get like the pinks and the purples and things like that are not all that common. But I was kind of like, as a guy who does modular type buildings, I'm like, when am I going to use lime green and when am I going to use all these pinks? Well, ironically, I've actually used up most of my dark pink on this building, and then I've actually used up a lot of the lime green on the Bob's Burgers. And so there's part of me that's glad that I'm actually finding a use for colors that are not common in North American architecture. So you don't see too many lime green, yellow buildings out there. The other thing that occurred to me as I was working with some of these more rare colors is that the pieces that get made in some of the more rare colors are not always the pieces that you need. In particular, in lime green, there's a ton of bricks, but not a lot of plates. And so if you're a building person, you need the plates to lock stuff in. You need your window frames locked in and various stuff. And so I actually had to place some, parts orders to get more plates to stabilize my buildings, which as someone who just randomly will like, okay, that's some lime green, I'm going to throw it in the lime green basket and sort it out at some point. It hadn't really occurred to me just how infrequently we get plates in that particular color. And because a lot of times the lime green pieces are decorative motif kind of things, or they're complementary. So there's lots of like slopes in the decorative colors. So like there's a ton of slope shapes that come in all shades of pink and purple, But if you want plates in pink and purple, you're not going to have very many unless you go out there and acquire them on purpose, because they're just not that many plates in those colors.
Yeah, I've even found that, ironically, even though orange is like one of the, like orange and lime green are like the most common colors produced, but yet the palette of parts isn't what you would think it would be. So, same thing. Cool. Well, awesome.
You know, Matthew, I'm gonna copy into the private. Hey, Chris.
There he is.
What's up?
Copy into the private chat. Some stuff with that Bata Shoe Museum. Just because your thing always reminds me of it, because it's kind of like it's got a lot of actually pink on the inside, but then it's got all these lights inside that are they're often used for pink because it's sort of the unofficial sort of head of like different things, like, you know, AIDS awareness, all this kind of stuff. So I'll put it in the private chat so you can see. Chris,
what's up, everybody?
Oh.
How are y'all? My 60-year-old had enough social and familial interaction. He needed to go see what was being dropped in the store on Fortnite. So actually, they're dropping some Tron stuff, which he's excited about. So
that is kind of cool.
Fortnite actually has got Tron and G.I. Joe and some other 80s properties going. So that's pretty cool. So
that is cool.
Anyway. So what y'all talking about?
Well, we just got done talking about Chris's or Matthew's bubblegum factory, but that was, you know, as you're well aware of.
Yeah, no, that thing's awesome.
We were about ready to move on to Just Jeff and see what he's working on, because he's been diligently building away up there in the corner.
He is now in sole ownership of the ball. So go ahead, man.
I'm not touching that, man.
I want for Chris to say the ball because he's only got one.
Yeah,
That's right.
exactly.
Thank you very much. You know, I was that close to making a ball joke, but I decided not to tonight. I'm not going to go there with Chris because
I
Chris
jumped in and stole the ball from you.
You did. It's okay.
7 years. Thank you very much.
It's just not his bag.
So I'm working on. You guys remember that ugly gray spaceship that I had that was like half gray on the bottom and then it was like all wonky?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, I was streaming the other night and then my big fat butt moved and then it all fell apart and crashed onto the floor. And I went, this is a good excuse to rebuild it. And I'm regretting every decision about this that I've made so far. But this is what we got going so far.
I like it. Personally.
The top section bothers me a little bit, but I'll figure it out. But it looks a little beefy. And Gil, damn you, because I was like, man, I'm not going to watch Battlestar Galactica. It's not going to happen. I've seen it 100 times. Emily came out at like 3 a.m. and was like, what are you doing? Nothing. And I was like 3 episodes in, and I was like, yeah, I'm not going to sleep tonight. So, and then I saw the Raptor, and then I saw this, and I was like, that's kind of like inspiring a little bit, except for the side door, because like the big beefy back end, as it were, and then the cockpit. I don't know, but like, yeah, I blame you, Gil.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
I'm also working on, reworking my police station that was huge and god-awful to a point. And so I'm going to try to move this. It's not like crazy bubblegum factory style, but it is kind of crazy for me because I don't usually build large. I build tiny spaceships or like little modular-ish buildings. And I've been streaming this 5 days a week, every night at 8:30. And going through the frustration of not finding parts because my room isn't organized, but yeah, it's looking good so far. I've got a lot of things rearranged. There is a garage that has a whole bunch of garage stuff, but I don't really want to try to separate the floors right now because I'm not really sure what will happen if I do.
It's kind of got that 70s, 80s cop shop kind of feel to it, right?
That's
what you need is like the Terminator just absolutely blowing through there.
You're not wrong. I was actually gonna. So I like the great design is to one day make the city that I've got in my head, and it's like kind of like backwards in time, and like in my head, like this city's on the West Coast, and it's as bad as Gotham City. And I've been wanting to use my custom steel character for a while that I made, and I want to do some like like not toy photography, but like Lego fan fiction photography and yada yada. So we'll see what happens.
Nice.
That's where I'm at. And this thing is frustrating, and I'm debating throwing it across the room right now. But besides that, everything's great. Back to you in the studio, Chris.
Wait, if you're gonna do that, let's do that live so we can all enjoy it for our.
Oh yeah, don't worry. I'll make a motion. Yeah. If you see me go, that's what's about to happen. So
We need.
It kind of looks like something from Porco Rosso. Kind of got that condensed sort of feel to it, and like the seaplane wings almost sort of thing.
that's it's also a bunch of other stuff too. So I have HBO Max, and they're like, "Hey, here's Babylon 5 completely remastered," and I went, "Oh, okay." And then 5 a.m. rolled around, and I was like, "This is so good," and I love it. So I've been like watching that, and like this came from like that Babylon 5, and I was like, man, I want to make like a Star Fury next. So I think for Zoom's birthday challenge, I think you're going to try to recreate a Star Fury in that color. So we'll see what happens.
Sweet.
Right on.
And the wing falls off a lot. That's cool. That's its play feature. Battle damage. All right.
All right.
Hey, Jeff, your police station has a bit of a Lego City Undercover vibe as well.
That too. As people know, I'm friends with Brian, and like we've talked about stuff before, and like police stations, and that kind of came up in a discussion, and yada shmada, and I was like, that's not a bad idea, and then that's where we're at. Back to you in the studio, Chris.
Oh, I'm not paying attention to them. I'm just a guest this evening, so
the production value on this show has gone to the dogs.
Jeff, do you have your minifigure ready, or are you going to do that after Dana's spiel?
I do have it not ready. I'm just going to open it right now, and whenever you would like, we can do this.
Well, we can keep it rolling with you if you want to toss up the.
So this is not as fancy as Dana's, so just bear with me as I do it. All right, there we go. So the minifigure of the week is up right now in a rich text document because that's how I do it. And it's
all 1994 of you.
Thanks. So we got Dr. Doom today. He's only appeared in one set, not even like the little wacky racer things, because I thought he was there, but that's no. One set. Who is he? He's Dr. Von Doom, ruler of Latveria, think fastest, Wakanda. Typically, he's a bad guy of the Fantastic Four, but has been known to tangle with the Avengers, Defenders, X-Men. He's not only a technological genius, Dr. Doom also possesses mystical powers that rivals Doctor Strange. He appeared in Fantastic Four number 5 in 1962. Graded at a 9.5, it sells for $83,000. So that's neat. So he came in this set right here, and it also came with 3 other minifigures that have not been released. We've got J. Jonah Jameson, we've got Nova, and then I can't remember that guy's name in the red. But yeah.
Oh, I can't remember his name either.
Is that Firefly Bug somebody?
It's something like that, yeah.
Firefly is
DC, though, I guess.
No, there's some sort of Firefly type character.
Firebug or something like that.
Yeah, something crazy like that.
I think he was.
And I think we're finally getting a new Nova figure, so that's actually kind of cool.
I hope so.
I think that's slotted us in a rumored set for 2021. I think.
Dr. Doom does sell for like $20 new and like 15 used. So that's on Bricklink. I forgot to write that down, but I saw it and I remembered it. So there you go.
Sweet.
Cool.
All right. So everybody's had their turn?
Except for me.
Okay, cool deal.
All right. So I'll try to keep this under a TED Talk time. So yes, I missed Monday. Sorry to miss you guys, but I will recap from the weekend because this was a full weekend, or the first a full weekend of the year. If you're a member of a lug and you get your a full sticker and your virtual VIP card that's on your mobile device, you get discount at the Lego store 4 times a year. This weekend was the first weekend for that. I did the typical basic A-fold function and got only spent enough to get the GWP, which the GWP this month is, of course, the year of the Ox Box, which is kind of cool. And I love these things because they even though they're doing them once a year, they keep it consistent for the last 4 years, I think. And there's always a little tile inside there that mimics the box, which are really cool. Gotta love these things. Gotta love them. New things that was out this week that I was lucky to, well, not new, but it was out and they actually had some, was the roses. So I grabbed 3 of these. So I want to make these and trying to decide whether I'm going to put them in a vase or make a vase, give it to wife on Valentine's Day. I'm mixing up my holidays. And then, of course, they started putting Easter stuff out, so I had to get the little bunny because bunnies. And from what I understand, and I haven't opened up yet, but I think the piece they used to make the bunny in here might be one of the pieces from the Mario sets, I think. So when I finally build this, I'll reveal on that one. And then, of course, maximizing GWPs, you got a nice little poly bag, which I think you can get in Target this year. This is a repeat that they've been doing before. And then if you were smart and you did like Matthew did, and you bought a Harry Potter set, you could have done 3 times the GWP this weekend and got the monster book, I think, as well. And it all goes on throughout the entire month. Along with the fact that it was a full weekend, we also swapped out our displays for, we do 2 displays in our LEGO stores here. So the lug, we did a collectible minifigure challenge for Series 21. Chris beat me by 1 vote. For the fan favorite with his little airplane girl jumping off the roof of the house, which was fantastic. If you guys saw that in an earlier episode. So my crab mail came in second for fan favorite, but so good time. So we swapped out the stores, got to see some of my lug members, which was awesome because it was a full day. Got to hand out some freebies from the lug, which is a great thing to be a LEGO ambassador to do that kind of thing. It feels like Santa Claus all year long. Got to do that. And then along with that, one of our lug members had some sets that she'd offered up for sale a year ago, and I hadn't had a chance to see her because of COVID. And so this was a perfect opportunity. Got to meet up with her to get those as well. So little Galaxy Squad. Love this guy.
Awesome.
I was real psyched about getting the Women of Science. Because I did not get this set when it came out and was disappointed, so I was lucky to grab that from her. And then also snagged an exosuit.
Unfair.
Which is nice. Sorry, Gil, this one's my 3rd one.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you've probably got them stacked up to stop the table from wobbling, right?
Well, you got to prop the table up with something. I mean, why not, LEGO idea sets that you've got extras of. So
the exosuit doesn't support any weight. So
well, that's true. And
hey, wait, I want to have Pete on here. Don't make fun of.
and Doc, perfect segue. Let's roll with this week's Old Gray Big Set of the Week. Mark, if you want to switch screens for me. So. Old Gray Brick set of the week.
So weak.
Is the 2
Oh, salt right in there.
That was about as subtle as a cow in a china shop. Thank you very much.
I mean, we're going to be talking about LEGO ideas this week. I've got another one of these this week. I figured we'll just make we'll trifecta this bad boy. So
there you go.
All right. So LEGO theme is ideas from 2014. It doesn't really feel like it was 6 years ago or almost 7 years ago when this came out, but it was.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Oh God.
300.
Okay. I'm sorry.
321 pieces. You got 2 minifigures. Retail price I think was $35. I think retail price was $35. So it's gone down in a used price, but new in box it's gone up to $40. So give or take. So it's holding its value basically, which is better than some sets that we've seen from the LEGO idea sets. Why is it cool? First and foremost, we got green space torsos.
Turtles.
Yay! Green space torsos. Also, Greeblies galore. I know some people love Peter Reed's builds. because they are so greebly, and other people don't like Peter Reed's builds because they are so greebly. So it's either way, depending on, some like it cold, some like it hot. Other than that, it was fan design. So we got a space set, fan design, gotta love it. And there's a lot of animosity out there right now where everybody's saying, we got our pirate ship, we got our blacksmith shop, space had its day in the time because it got its exosuit. We got an exosuit. We didn't get a moon base. We didn't get a giant spaceship.
No.
So let's keep it. It's fan design. Yes, it's part of Lego ideas, but come on, we can do better.
7 years ago.
And last but not least, it's space. So we're gonna love it. So again,
Turtles.
Old for the week is 21109 exosuit from Lego Ideas, designed by Peter Reed. And hopefully, maybe one day we'll actually get Peter to crawl out of his moon base and come and talk to us. So
That's right.
I hope so.
So that concludes our Old Greg set of the week. And not to steal my own line back from Jeff, back to you, Chris, in the studio.
You did forget, and Matthew was trying to hint at, one of the cool parts about that set is the space turtles.
Oh, yeah.
Turtles.
Sir, you are correct.
Which actually are signature to Pete because, cool. And it was really
And
neat
also,
to get them.
you know what's really cool about that too is that leading up to the release, that little commercial on YouTube that they had with the animation was really awesome.
Yeah.
And then the packing materials that come with that, like the book, it's almost like a little bit of an extension teaser of building Lego Space, his big book with Tim. So all those things as like a package, it really felt like someone took like one of those TTA books, the Terran Trade Authority things from the 70s or whatever. No, not TNA, TTA. I see you smiling, Data. TTA, and combined it with like a classic space set. So
Gil, what you're saying?
This is scratching everything. There, have fun with that.
So, Gil, what you're saying is that you really love Peter Reed's package.
Yeah, I do.
Very well done.
I do.
Yeah, by the way,
Nice, thank you very much. Well, now
I was gonna say let's pin Peter.
Yeah.
Mine's in the living room.
Peter and Tim, and actually, if you follow Tim and Peter, they both do some crazy stuff on Instagram. You don't see Peter posting much lately, but Tim posts a lot.
That new base of Tim's is like bangarang, man.
Oh yeah, that's
awesome.
like a chunk of space love right there. Yeah,
Oh,
I don't think it would.
So
I don't think it would translate well into the set that Lego should produce because it's so complicated. But it is so, even though it's greebly to the max, it's really tight as well.
Yeah.
And everything.
Yeah.
So Now I've spoken to Pete on a couple occasions to talk to him, and he's a little toasted right now, but he's starting to build a little more. So I would love to have him on the show. And I know from our experience, Mark and I's experience, doing a set with Lego on that kind of thing, it can kind of toast you out because after we did our sets, I was like, I don't know. I'm a little toast. It took a little while to get the love back for the brick because you get to see behind the curtain of the business side, and it's not so pretty. So
Nope. Nobody likes to see how the sausage is made.
No.
Did y'all say the same phrase?
Yeah.
Hanging.
He's not leaving you hanging. He's just showing you he's
Mark,
inept.
Mark,
That's
I'll get you. There we go.
Yeah, it's going to be the next hour and a half of this.
yeah. This is the quality entertainment that is on this show. So.
That's great.
It's free, people.
I'm here for it.
Just be aware that the last 30 minutes often devolves into an innuendo festival. So bring your innuendos.
It's free, and everyone's getting their money's worth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is that Chris, while he's the one who is quick to throw up the PG-13 button, is often the one that instigates
No.
The antics. Just
by often, you mean always.
I mean always.
Yeah.
But
If I tee it up, you guys hit it. I mean, you know,
please.
Yeah, but half the time I tee it up and I don't even mean to, and you guys run with it. So
he likes to come up to the edge, to the threshold of experience, shall we say? But as other people edge closer, we get the nervous laughter.
Yeah, that's that could get me fired. So.
The level of tension he is feeling internally. So,
Matt, were you just talking about edging on a Lego show?
I don't know. No,
I
don't
did
go
not.
there.
Nobody said that. Nobody said that.
I don't go there.
So, Chris,
like soon, like
Lego ideas this week, right?
Yeah,
there's going to be someone in here. There's going to be someone in here who's, not for the same reasons, but the same effect is going to be the Cara Dune of this. Suddenly they're just gone.
So, Meredith, Natalie, Little Pink Wheels has, I don't know, something that requires antibiotics that prevents her from operating heavy machinery. So they were not able to join us other than just to cop in and say hi to Boone during the pre-show.
That's cool. Well, yeah,
but I might have her PowerPoint. I might have her
the PowerPoint. Okay, because she had this multimedia event right with PowerPoint to talk about it. So
I'm pulling it up now. Today was a weird day for me, so I'm a little behind on things. So I'm opening it up and I'll peruse it here and we'll see what we got.
Okay, I just earned a 16-year-old, so I have had a weirder day than you. So
Boone, you can answer this in a minute if you want, but have you become accustomed to becoming a celebrity for small children who probably come up to you randomly and you're like, you're the Lego guy? I'm assuming that this happens to you post Lego Masters.
It's usually kids don't approach me.
Okay.
Usually it's adults or like adults with kids.
Okay.
And the kids are usually like speechless. I don't mean to say it like that, but kids usually suddenly get very shy. At least in my experience, all the kids I've interacted with, most often they get very shy very quickly, and then mom or dad is trying to like carry the conversation. And often mom and dad are just as excited about it as the kid.
Well, it's probably the dad going, hey, that's that Lego guy. Go talk to him so I can. Go.
Yeah. There was this one time I went to a yard sale, and it was like a mom and a dad and probably a 13-year-old boy and a 15-year-old girl. And the boy was inside the house, and they were like, you look just, and I get that a lot. I get like, you look just like, and I wear a mask everywhere I go. So it's people like, they see the hair, they see the glasses, they see the beard. They're like, you look a lot like the guy from the Lego show. And almost nobody knows the name of the show. I get the Lego show, the Lego Build Off, Lego Builders show, Lego Master Builders. So I don't know what went wrong with the branding there, because almost nobody gets it right. But they were like, and I'm like, I know I do look like him because I am him. And they're like, oh my goodness, and they called the kid out, and they're like, hey, so and so, whatever his name was, you got to get out here. And then the whole family was just like, oh, we loved when this happened and when this happened. And I was like, oh, thank you very much. So that kind of thing happens, but it's died down a little bit, but I also just like don't go anywhere. So there's that. But I mean, every now, I'd say like while the show was running and for the 3 to 4 months after the show was on TV, I couldn't go anywhere without being recognized by somebody. And now it's like one in every 5 times I pop into the post office or Target, I get recognized. I mean, like Bricks and Minifigs or the Lego store, they just know me. So, but.
Did you go to the Seattle convention afterwards? Because I know a couple of the show participants were at that and meeting people. And did you go to that big con?
You must be talking about Portland, because Portland, Seattle. Seattle hasn't happened again.
Okay.
since
COVID.
so the last BrickCon Seattle that actually happened was while we were at casting finals. So that would have been like the very beginning of October 2019. And then the show was on the air from February to April of 2020, and Bricks Cascade here in Portland was late February, early March 2020. And that was one of the last conventions. I think there might have been a Northeast Coast convention like the weekend after that, but I don't think there's been any in-person conventions since then. And yeah, there were 10 of us, so half the cast was at Bricks Cascade, and it was nuts. It was the largest private and public attendance Bricks Cascade has ever had, and we were, the 10 of us were there all weekend, and it was just, it was like they had no frame of reference for anybody who would ever run like a Comic-Con or anything where people come to like want to interact with someone who's, and I don't really feel that famous, but anyway, anyone running that kind of event would have known what to do. But the operators of the Bricks convention, they there was just nothing had ever happened before that gave them any frame of reference for how to handle 1,000 people wanting to wait in the aisles to try to come meet these people. It was weird.
It's like a rock star showing up to a kid's fun fair for the grade school. They're completely unprepared.
Yeah. And they did a great job. They did the best job they possibly could. A lot of people stepped up and helped, because it really, they gave us a spot to like stand and like meet people and, sign T-shirts and give out pictures and stuff like that. But the line was so long that the line is, off in front of like 3 rows of people's mocks. So they had to have like 6 people come and like, help people know where to stand without blocking people's presentations, and yeah, it was weird. It was weird, but it was hilarious and fun and incredible. And I'll probably never experience anything quite like that again. But
you never know. You never know. I mean, because that was the only convention you've been to like that. And then after, hopefully, knock on wood, once we get back to some sort of semblance of reality again, there's going to be shows, and you're still going to be Boone, and you're going to be Boone. I mean, you'll always be Boone build. And we all love watching A Full Spotlight and all that stuff. So you're still going to have that 15 minutes of fame stretch out. So you may still get to experience that. Now, maybe not the thousands of people like that, but you're still going to have that.
And certainly within the Lego community, if you go to a convention, people are going to know you in that community. You're not going to ever be anonymous at another Lego show again.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I figure that's true. But it feels like, now it suddenly feels like I went to more Lego conventions in the year before Lego Masters than I had ever been to in a year's time. So now a year into COVID, it feels like they're never going to happen again. And I know that's not true.
Right.
But it was like, I was really, before Lego Masters, I was really like in the over 3 to 4 years before Lego Masters, it was like each year just like compounded, and I was like twice as much like invested and active in the community as I was the year before for like about 4 years leading up to that. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, now they're not happening. But I don't know.
You were in the zone, and now you've gone cold turkey, and it's surreal.
I mean, it's really just shifted, right? It's all shifted online. So it's not like I haven't really slowed down, but it's weird to not go to conventions.
There's a friend of mine who's in comics, and then he sort of knows through association some of these other people in kids industries. And one of them here in Canada, he's a guy who's been on TV for quite a few years, and he hosts the morning shows, like the Saturday morning runs and all this kind of stuff. So he's kind of known for that kind of thing. And it's funny, when we were a couple years back, we're all getting together, chatting and stuff, and asking him, similar sort of thing you're just talking about. What's it like? People know you. People. He's like, yeah. He's like, it's fun with the kids, and it's kind of cool. And again, like you're saying, usually mom and dad have to kind of get things going. He's like, but he said, what makes the best stories, and yet it's the stuff that I absolutely dread the most, is the crazy adult fans that you do get, and it's like, these people are like, they're a little bit like mentally unstable, but because it's a medium which is very nurturing, and it's not threatening and all that kind of stuff, it draws some of these people to it, right? And because you're that way, to make it accessible to the kids and to the public in general, they kind of automatically think, hey, this is my buddy. So yeah, so he's like, and when he tells some of those stories, some were hilarious and charming and kind of cute, some were kind of scary, some of them involving some ladies, and some men were a little spicy and scary. So it's like, yeah, I can only imagine what it's like to sort of have this, I'm not going to say niche celebrity, but it's like a focused celebrity, right?
Right. Yeah, and part of what I do is I'm always kind of filtering, like, what's the word I'm trying to use? Like, what is the opportunity for, like, potential outcome here? And I'm missing a word.
Yeah.
But it's like
risk assessment.
Yeah. Risk analysis, right? Like, and just sort of like
a bunny in my house.
yeah. And so I'm always trying to, like, just set up just enough of a the boundaries. Boundaries was the word I was looking for. Just like sort of always testing, like, where do I need to have my boundaries set up, so that I feel safe and my family feels safe. And then just like my personality is always gonna allow me to kind of like push the limit on that, right? Like, some people's personalities, they're gonna want to stay as far away from those boundaries as they possibly can to maintain their own kind of self security. Right,
like
which is perfectly understandable. Yeah, exactly, and that's personally understandable. My personality allows me to kind of always be like right up against that line until I sort of sense, like, okay, well, I need to back up a little bit, But
it is one of the dangers of being an extrovert.
Right, exactly. Yeah,
it's a fine line you got to walk. Absolutely.
Maybe I've gone too far this time.
Well, that's the beauty of being online, because you can walk up to that line all day long and it's safe because there's thousands of miles of internet between you and everybody else. Although I do run into Chris from time to time, and I'm waiting for him to hit me with like a wet sock and tell me to calm down sometime. But
me?
That's not a sock.
Well, we forgot. Oh, Chris, I forgot to tease you with something, and not to derail conversation, but look what was at the Lego store.
Yeah, you sent me one.
Yes, I know you got your stuff.
Oh, it's in the car. I gotta go get it because I gotta unbox that thing.
What? Yeah. All right. So if you're not aware, this 4-pack minifigure set is now on clearance in the Lego stores, and it's the only way you get this little white guy here with the green decal or green printed torso. He only came in this set, and that's how you get them. And they've been out of stock for this online for probably almost a year, and now they've shown up in store for clearance. So go figure.
Visor orange on that?
What's that?
Was the visor orange on that, or is it just?
It's the same kind of. It's the same visor type thing like this.
Because I don't think I have that in orange. I don't remember it in orange.
Yeah. So why is that?
Huh. Cool.
It's a cool helmet. You got it. Well, it's the new helmets that came in the city space, and then if you throw the orange visor on it. It just screams Ice Planet.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gil, you got to get some. You got to get some.
Yeah.
Oh man, we're still in lockdown. Yeah, nothing.
I got the Rex legs with the silver on the bottom to make my Ice Planet guy there.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's really cool.
So it's pretty cool. All right, I'm gonna go run and get that. Y'all start your discussion on ideas, and I'll be right back.
If you, well, I don't know if we want to wait for Chris or not, but anyway, I do have Meredith's PowerPoint.
Well, and what we're talking about tonight, I'll go ahead and just intro it if that's okay. Everybody looks forward to the announcement, and now it's like there's 20 that have made the 10,000 mark, and they're only going to pick one. And it's like I mean, I remember I know Tricky Bricks and some of those guys were, hey Maddie, were excited for the Caroline thing to make it through. That was really popular and everything. It didn't get picked, and that was last. And this one, there were literally like 20 or 30, and like one got picked. And then there's all these fantastic creations that made it to 10,000. And if I was one of those people, I'd be like, whoa, here we go. And then they're all gone. And there's rumor that they'll do stuff on ideas. And Boone, I know you've got a set you're plugging, and I really like it that you're plugging to get on the ideas thing and everything. So you're in that, so you'll give some good insight on that. What we are talking about, though, should that process change a little bit? Has it gotten away from its roots of it being really kind of a grassroots fan-built thing, and now you got to set up a website or something like that to promote it? And I don't mind if you've got a great idea that you need to push through, then go with it. But does that need to change? Is there a higher vote that they need to get? Something like that. So we'll discuss that. I'll be right back. I got to get that stuff out of the car. I'm going to turn my camera off.
All right. So maybe we kick this off with Meredith's slides.
Sure.
So we can. I'm going to read these because I apologize. Meredith gave me like 2 PowerPoint slides that I didn't have time to look at until now, and I thought she was going to be on. So we're just going to kind of roll with this. So Mark.
It's like my usual class.
Go ahead.
I wanted to ask Maddie, do you have anything cool or new to share with us tonight?
Oh yeah.
Sorry. I was just live streaming on TikTok. I'm so sorry. I totally kind of forgot and already scheduled the event.
Cool. Do you have anything fun? New Lego anything?
Yeah, I purchased my very first Star Wars set.
Oh, cool.
Welcome to the dark side.
Welcome to the dark side for sure. And I bought this set because of the hologram of Princess Leia, and I was like, "That's so cool! I gotta have that." And then I ended up really liking the build. I was like really surprised with myself. I didn't think that this would be something that I would enjoy. It was really cool. So I think I am now an official addict to the Star Wars collection, which is not great for my wallet.
No.
You do realize that little set is like the gateway drug to Maz Eisley's Cantina.
Yeah, that's what someone said in the live stream. They were like, that's a gateway to the next biggest one. And I was like, oh no.
Yeah, because I actually bought that little hut because I'm like, oh, this will go great in along with the Maz Eisley Cantina. And now I'm waiting for those to eventually go on clearance to add up a whole bunch of them to add to it. So yeah, it's a slippery slope.
On your dining room table.
Well, that is where my Maz Eisley Cantina is right now, is on the dining room table.
As one does.
As one does.
Love
of course, also, there's probably like 6 to 8 modular buildings on my dining room table, too. So,
Or you could buy a second cantina like somebody and flip the minifig.
Well, no, I did. I did buy a second cantina, and Meredith bought my minifigs, so that funded half the cantina. Oh, yeah. So now I can take that second cantina.
I need to do at a convention like a joint cantina expansion display.
Oh yeah, exactly. It needs to be. I gotta have my Maz Eisley needs to be a bigger hive of scum and villainy. So, all right. So, wait, Fazum is back, but we'll talk about this. Wait a minute. Did you want to do that box that you brought in first?
Oh, sure. You were telling me I needed to unbox this online.
You need to unbox that online.
All right, so I haven't opened this. You have, apparently, I guess.
I had to make sure there was, it was what was supposed to be in there is in there. So,
all right, so there you go. Yeah, it's raining outside, by the way. It's pouring. All right, so this is from Cowdice. Sweet, baby Cowdice.
It was supposed to get here before Christmas, but it didn't arrive till then. So it's kind of like an early Valentine's gift.
No way. If he put the wrong hands on this dude, though, I'm gonna scream. He didn't. He put the right hands. Dude, that's awesome.
So,
man,
what is it, Chris?
Is it maple syrup?
no,
No.
This is
Nice.
918.
that's awesome. That is so sweet.
That is so Dave too.
It is so Dave. So for those of you who are watching who may or may not know, Dave has multiple copies of the LL918, and he found out that Chris did not have one, so he made a special shipment to make sure that he could give one to Chris.
I do have one.
You told him you didn't have one.
I have one. I showed it on the show when you did it.
Oh. I
Don't
thought
tell him.
something
He's
came
not
up with
watching
that,
it.
that you didn't have it, and that's why he's like, I didn't know Chris didn't have the 918.
Wait a minute. I don't have one, so ship it back to me.
Send it back.
Like a
I
red
don't have one.
I can do that.
But it is so
According to
Dave.
his
So
need.
there you go.
But that is super kind. But that's awesome. Now I am disappointed that he put the right hands on the guy, because that would have been hilarious that the guy in here would have had the wrong hands.
I think what happened is that he shipped it actually before the blue hands became popular. So
That's great. So great. Yeah, that is Dave. Dave's a good guy, man. That's awesome.
It's more so Dave too because you already have one, now you have two, so he's just getting you to get more.
yes.
I still want to have a very small percentage of what he actually has in these. So it's great. Oh, but by the way, look, this is the ship that I'm working on for possibly the thing. So they're actually comparable in size. Mark, can you zoom in on that? So there you go. There's the original, and this is the new one.
So Chris, is that going to be your Lego idea submission?
Part of it. This is part of the set that was only 60 pieces. So if I can do 60 pieces on that, and then even have 150 pieces to spend on this,
Ooh,
then I can put them both.
counterpart. Nice.
So, but anyway, Dave, thank you for this. This is super awesome. But I could share the wealth, I'm sure. Now everybody's mad. You already had one.
All right. Let's talk about some Lego ideas. What's wrong with Lego ideas? All right. So this is Meredith's rant, so I'm just going to kind of read it through, and we'll kind of spawn some conversation. Too many projects are making it to 10,000 votes. Leads to Lego only able to commit to 1 or 2 projects per review. So that kind of floods the market in that aspect, which leads to the internet griping about why wasn't my favorite insert IP select picked. Several sets that were not picked during the review have been reposted to ideas. I'm looking at you, Ratatouille. People submitting ideas with the goal of getting to 10,000 club is versus actually sending viable projects for review. So I can kind of see that. I can definitely see that. Too many and sometimes very niche. Yeah, she was on a rant on a private chat today about Phil Collins' drum kit. It made me laugh. Or intellectual properties. So, you know, we got 6 Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, 8 Nightmare Before Christmas, which actually I'm really surprised we haven't seen Nightmare Before Christmas actual set come out of ideas, because that just makes more sense than anything. Animal Crossing, Kung Fu Panda Noodles, Cobra Kai, Renault Car, 4 projects on that one. And what better moderation is needed for this? So limit or restrict IPs, especially if Lego has already released similar on the same IPs in the sets in the past, which would make sense. I mean, you know, just basically wipe out and say no Star Wars, no Harry Potter, no Marvel and DC. You just you wipe that slate clean, or intellectual properties, or tell them no intellectual properties. Only give us things that are brand new and fresh. I can see them doing that. Lego has already restricted Nintendo IPs. Okay, so they're starting. Moderate projects to minimize the duplication of non-intellectual property ideas. Currently, there are 7 different Chinese or Japanese-inspired garden projects, 4 Greek and Roman temple projects, and about 1,000-ish chess sets and wizard towers. Yes, because we all know how well Lego chess sets sell. Guaranteed to go on clearance. Moderate projects that are digital designs that may not be physically possible, or elements that will never exist. Who wants translucent pink Viking boat hulls except Matthew?
I do. Everybody needs it in every color.
Julian,
And I just one parting shot on this before, because I just want to touch on this. The digital thing is a love and hate relationship, because a lot of people think that if you can build it digitally, that means it'll work physically. And if they've not tried it, that's just asking for trouble right there. So there's Meredith's rant, and now discuss.
Well, I thought that they already limited intellectual properties. They came out with rules for submissions a couple years ago, right? And they said no IPs, but then IPs made it again. All right. Now, let me just disclaimer, Boone, go ahead and share with them, because I really love what actually you've made, that you are championing to get on to Lego ideas. And it is an IP, but it's actually a really good one because Lego's never delved in that before. Do you have it handy?
Yeah, I can go grab it.
Yeah. It's really cool because I like it because it can include space, which I like. But yeah, so the IP thing is weird, and the fact that if they've said no and then they let those IPs go on all the way through, that's just Lego begging for free advertising. They are like, we're never going to make this, but did you see the Avatar flying thing? We're never going to make it, but we've let it go all the way through for Avatar fans or the Last Airbender fans to go, oh, I like Lego too, and it's just free advertising for a property they don't own, which I think that's kind of dirty pool if you ask me. But hey, they're using the thing there. So but Boone's just meandering at the moment. So.
I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened to the rear view mirrors, but this is the Magic School Bus. It's based on a PBS show, and it's got like all the characters in there, and then it transforms, so it can just be a bus, or it can be, this is the space shuttle version of the bus. And there's also a submarine version of the bus, and then I've published, there'll be some other variations that aren't necessarily like official parts of it, but will be fun updates as I come out with them. There is snow sticking to the ground for the first time right now all year, and I'm really excited about turning it into some sort of snow crawler beast. So hopefully I'll be able to do that in the next couple of days.
You need to get all the characters and put Ice Planet helmets on them and coming out with us. That would be awesome.
That's what I took to school.
Yeah. So and it's, man, I feel like, I don't know, I guess I don't need to interject right now, but I'll just say one thing, and it's that I think Lego is slow to make any changes to anything. And when it happened the first time, because now we're three, what do they call it, evaluations or whatever the final phase is. We're 3 in since since quarantine began almost a year ago, and the numbers of submissions to the platform and the numbers of projects making it to 10,000 have increased significantly. And so, when it happened the first time and it happened the second time, they were saying, well, we don't know how much of this is related to genuine new interest in the hobby that represents continued interest, and how much of this is related to people who just now are looking for extra things to do, and as their life goes back to normal, is it going to settle down? So Lego isn't going to be quick to, again, all of this is not official. I'm just saying, kind of what I've heard and things that I believe based on what I've paid attention to, which isn't always everything. But Lego is not, they take 3 years to make any decision, right? So they're not going to quickly change how ideas works, on kind of a fundamental level, if they believe it could be a temporary problem. So, I just think that like it's not that they're not going to do anything, or it's not that they're won't do anything or refuse to do anything, but if they're going to do something, it is expected that it will have not happened yet and may not happen for another year or another year and a half, because it just takes Lego 3 years to decide to do anything, because they watch and they wait, and I think in a way, the way you see other things happen on Ideas, because Ideas is a platform designed to allow them to do some things faster, like a gift with purchase challenge, or a challenge that doesn't have any real long-term impact. They're able to do those things faster because they've set up this little microcosm in which they can do things faster, but it almost gives the illusion that they should be able to flip a switch if there's a problem, where really they're not going to do that on as large a scale as how Ideas fundamentally works. Now, that's not to say there aren't smaller things they couldn't do in between, like doing nothing and redoing everything. That's my 2 cents.
So I'm gonna continue with what Boone was saying about how Lego watches, and there was a company called Palatoys that was the Hasbro European sister and brother, and when G.I. Joe came out, they watched. Well, I'm sorry, when Star Wars came out, they realized that their 12-inch, 6-inch action figures aren't going to do it anymore. So what they did do was they switched to the 3/4 scale, and they watched how boys and girls played, and Lego does that pretty much 24/7. Like the groups, their quality groups, are always testing to see how boys and girls play with Lego, everything else, yada yada. That's why Ninjago is still around. That's why dots are a thing right now. It's just that simple. So I think that once they see this like blow up that's going on, and like Boone said, this could be quarantine related. I mean, seriously, how often did you guys ever go to Ideas before quarantine as opposed to how we're doing it now, which is like, well, I better check this out because there's stuff. Like I've been supporting things every day this last week, simply because I've been looking for things to talk about on Tuesdays with everybody, and because it's taken a little bit of a load off from Josh Hanlon, but I'm so just still doing it every single day. Just I want to see, I want to vote, I want to support, but once again, that's like Boone said, this could just be pandemic related.
I think too, though, part of it is you've got to sort of take a look, and this is what Chris is saying all the time whenever we sort of do these discussions. Let's not forget, the main driving factor of everything is Lego wants our money, right? And do the Ideas sets, are they really a revenue generator, right? And exactly. And I'm really not entirely convinced they are. I think obviously they're not a money loser. But when you look at where they're probably making the vast amount of their money, it's obviously in the mainline stuff within a certain price range within the sets. Most likely the $30 to $80 range, right? Yeah. So that's like usually where it's being made, and you're never gonna see a Lego Ideas set. The close we got was maybe the Tron one, right? It was around like 40 or so, 40. But now pretty much every Lego Ideas set is you're clocking in at least 100. Let's go up from there. So, and it just makes me wonder, the purpose of Lego Ideas from a business perspective is what? Is it purely fan service? Is it, and Matt, you can go right after, is it purely fan service? Is it something that is a idea generator to actually feed into future lines, right? And if we sort of like pin down as to what it's doing for the company as a business tool, then the rules around it probably, that's going to dictate whether Lego does something or does nothing. Because if it helps their business case, they'll do it. If doing nothing is the same thing, then they won't. So that's my.
I think the Lego Ideas is drawing in people who wouldn't have normally been into Lego. So they're seeing those sets that are peaked around their interests. Like, I just picked up an Adventure Time set, and I'm thinking to myself, like, how many of those people who got that set weren't actually into Lego, but they're into Adventure Time, and they see it, and they're like, oh, I'm going to get this. And then they're like, wow, that's really cool. Then that kind of dabbles their taste. And yes, it is expensive, but those people who are like the hardcore Friends fans, or the people who are the fans of what was another, or like the dinosaur bone sets, you know, like they'd be like, oh, that's so cool. And then when they put it together, it's like, oh, that was fun. I wonder what other Lego is out there for me. And I think in that sense, that is a great business model. Even though they might not be profiting off of that idea set alone, they're profiting off of gaining a new fan.
Sure.
And
Yep.
the other thing I would say about that is, you know, when Lego almost went bankrupt and they actually brought in an MBA to run the company, one of the things he would say was, well, how much does it cost us to make that? And they didn't know the answer. And they do cost accounting on everything. They don't make a set that doesn't make them money. So whether that margin is large or small, that obviously can vary. But trust me, they don't sell any sets that they lose money on. I mean, they make money.
I'm sure. But again, you know, breaking even or making small margin ain't gonna win the day in the end. This needs to be a business case for something that promotes the reality or the fantasy, whatever your particular outlook of perpetual growth, right?
So the thing that Manny taps into is that the ideas line from a business perspective allows you to target niche audiences that your normal lines don't. So there's a piano. Well, that's going to potentially get somebody who never buys Lego. That Saturn V rocket totally brought in people who had never, ever bought a Lego set in their life, and they wanted that Saturn V. Then there's the Moonlander. So now they might come back and buy the Moonlander. And then there might be another NASA space set that now they want that set. So, I mean, it is one of those things. So if you're a company, you know, you've got your whole product line, a whole series of product lines that are obviously aimed at children, boy children, girl children, teenagers, you know, infants. But the variety of ideas from a business perspective is that it's letting the fans show you things that they're interested in buying that might attract a consumer that has never bought a Lego product before. And I think that actually is one of the brilliant things about it, is you want to sort of flood the zone with such a nice array of products that you're going to bring in customers that you wouldn't normally attract. And I think that's the upside from a corporate point of view for Lego. And they're still going to make money on every set. And so they don't make money.
And I think all that makes sense. But then the next question is, how do you define these submission rules to support that? Right.
Well, by not defining them and leaving them loosey-goosey and vague, you can do what you want. And you can, you know, you're not having to say, well, we didn't define it, so therefore we don't have to stand by something. So it's you know, it's in their best advantage to keep it vague. And why do I feel like I'm putting on my Kevin Hinkle hat or something like that? Did I step into that? I think so.
Now you know Hinkle. Since Hinkle, and I respect Hinkle for what decisions he's made. You know, he's out. Yeah. So we either need to come up with a new thing like pouring out a couple of one by ones or something for Hinkle. I don't know.
the Hinkle moment of silence or something like
that. Have y'all talked at all about the second round of the Bricklink AFOL design program as it applies to this conversation?
Nope, not linking the two. No, but we kind of started last week. But yeah. Yeah. So you know, when the first round of the ADP was a pilot, and all the conversation was, you know, we're excited to see how the relationship between Bricklink and Lego develops, and the ADP was the test tube, you know, to try that out, and then 6 months later they announced that Bricklink has been acquired by Lego, right? Well, now the second round of the ADP is it's still another test, and it's testing something different. It's taking only rejected 10,000 Club ideas from
Lego Ideas and exploring which of those, for whatever reasons they might have been rejected to go through the full-on Lego Ideas product launch. Well, which of those ideas might be accessible for us to do in a smaller way? You know, I think our sets were 2,500 copies of each of the first round ADP sets were produced. And so, you know, if you pair that with the thing I said earlier about we're just going to take a lot longer than any of us want to make any decisions, along with this idea, well, then it becomes this opportunity to take the pressure off of Lego product design having to, onboard 3 or 5 new ideas projects 3 times a year, right? And if you only accept 1 or 2, then you actually have a bigger pool of great ideas that they know are viable with a large group of the public to go try this other idea. Now, I have no idea if there's any correlation between the decision to do that and the decision to choose fewer that actually get approved. But I just, to me, it makes sense. To me, I look at all of those factors and I go, okay, I completely understand why the people who wanted X, Y, or Z are upset. That completely resonates to me. I completely understand why people are saying, oh, there's way too many. Oh, the things need to be changed. But if I look at all of the factors from Lego perspective, like it just all makes sense. And it just, in my mind, it's like, it's really just, we're wading through the waters of figuring out what is version 2.0 of Lego Ideas. And we just don't get the benefit of knowing that yet. And I'm sure they don't fully either, but.
And that's the big question is, do they know what they're doing? Or are they just kind of winging it? I mean, because as we know, Lego has done things in the past that have failed. And then 5-6 years later, they go, hey, let's do this. And somebody will say, well, we did that before and it didn't work. No, we're doing this again. This is new. And so it begs the question, is there some Machiavellian plan that they are going, well, if we do this and it doesn't work, and can we slide it over into this pocket and make some more money out of it? Are they really being that crafty? Or are they like, well, we'll give this a shot and let's see what sticks? It could go either way, really.
There's some definitely ready, fire, aim going on with it and everything. They're just kind of seeing what sticks. And I can tell you what didn't stick: the Flintstone set, because I see that everywhere. Right, the Flintstone set is. I mean, I think it's great, but I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna buy that. So
I found this out on Tuesday, Chris. The Flintstone set, because I was like the same way. Like, I see this thing everywhere. Why isn't this on clearance yet? It is huge in Europe.
Really?
Yes. I'm not sure why. I don't understand the logic behind it. I'm not European. So, yeah, it is huge in Europe. Like, there's a huge following of it, and it doesn't make any sense to me.
So, interesting interesting comment. In another conversation I was having somewhere along the line, the American market, we are kind of like in a bubble that we don't realize we're in. That the European markets are completely different and have a completely different buying pattern and a completely different interest pattern that we assume that the rest of the world is following us, and we're completely wrong. So the fact that something sits on a shelf here for months and doesn't sell is flying off the shelves there, and vice versa. So
City is huge in Europe. I mean, here Star Wars is usually the top 3 themes, but when I worked at the store and our manager would go to the meetings, they would come out and they would say, here are the top 5 in North America, and then here's the top 5 in Europe, and they're quite often quite different. So City really sells much better in Europe, which explains why they can get away with some of the price per pieces that they have on a few sets. That I just look at that and I go, I'm not paying that much money for a town layout, but apparently Europeans will. So
Well, I mean, all you need to do is, like, if you just go on the brick set, you know, for forums, or like you just look at the comments to random set of the day. Random set of the day for a city set will outpace everything else, and the vast majority of the people commenting there are from Europe.
Yeah.
And they'll kill it every day. I mean, if like city, yes, I mean you get a train thing up there and it lights up like, you know, like whatever. But yeah.
Well, wasn't the comment, I think, and I now remember, wasn't the comment the other week that Bionicle is huge in Europe?
They're making that up.
No, I thought I heard somebody say that a large percentage of Bionicle fans are in Europe, and that's why we saw so many Bionicle votes for the 90th anniversary set. Which, by the way, this is another segue for a slight conversation of that. Lego Ideas may follow along the same lines as the voting that they did for the 90th anniversary. They put the voting out there, and then they put the little caveat that said, not that this will make any difference on what we do. We're just putting out a vote out there.
Yeah.
So Lego Ideas, you can get 10,000 votes. Do they care? Yeah, you made it to submission for them to review, but they're going to do what they want anyway. So,
hey, by the way, Boone, if you got your link to your the school bus, throw it in the private chat, and I'll throw it on the public so everybody can go there.
And this is StreamYard not allowing us in the feed to post into the private chat or the public chat unless we go somewhere else.
I don't know.
I know, it's weird. Yeah.
I don't know. We actually, just breaking news to break our conversation now. Let's see if he makes it in. He's live in location at the hospital, so let's hope we're not mid-birth. But Smith is here. How you doing, man?
Hey, Julian.
Uh-oh.
Hey, everybody. I can't see, but the internet's going wonky. But I'm here.
How's Miss Brittany?
You can hear me. I love it.
We lost him again. So if you don't know, Brittany also had COVID just like Bricksmith did, and she was having some issues, so they are inducing her. So the baby will be a little bit early, but it's in a healthy window. It's not optimal and everything. So I was hoping that she would be born today because it would be Jake's birthday too. So that would have been awesome. But are you there, Bricksmith?
Us too.
I want to answer a question in the chat real quick and just make this known. We do acknowledge the chat, but sometimes we get a little caught up in our own conversation and we're not always monitoring it. So if you feel like you're being ignored, we apologize, but we are talking stuff that matters to us to a degree, and we don't mean to ignore anybody. So I'm sorry.
That's right. We're not purposely ignoring. All right, here we go. Oh, somebody else trying to get in. Bricksmith, are you there? I think he's halfway in. Okay. Anyway,
live on tonight's Old Gray Bricks. Does the water break?
As the water breaks.
Oh, Chris, real quick, while he's connecting, are you going to put that link in the thing, or are you just going to display it?
I was going to throw it in the. I can put it in the live chat here for everybody, if that's okay.
Okay, then you can use the one I put.
Okay.
It's not great for display because the O's are zeros, but if it's an actual clickable hyperlink, then it's the perfect.
Yeah, I'll throw it in there. It should. Let me see.
You know, but Chop, almost feel the exact same way whenever you show up, man. So.
All right, here we go. Paste. Let's see if that gets out.
Yeah, that's one of the disadvantages of doing a live show, even though it adds to the camaraderie and the whole aspect, is that this goes by so fast, and that I know there have been comments that have been directed to me that I completely miss.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Comments,
right.
Insults, assumptions.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I have to go back. I mean, not that I go back and watch our shows, but if I did, I would look for Gil's comments. And Gil's comments.
All right, so let's just start right here. If you were running the Ideas show or the Ideas program, because we're at an hour 30, we'll start bailing out here in a minute. If you were running it right now, what would be the first thing you would change? What rule would you put in? What would be the first thing you would change?
No
Anybody?
pants.
No pants.
We do that. That's already rule one for the Canadian in the corner.
All right.
I'm sorry, I had to duck out earlier. So if you guys covered this, I apologize. But I think raising the limit from 10,000 votes to more, maybe 50,000 votes, because then it would be definitely it would increase the demand. That if there are literally 50,000 people who are interested in this set, then it makes it much more viable for them to do. And maybe I'm wrong. Boone, you look like you got a comment. Let me know.
I'm sorry. I just think that I think raising the number of votes just makes it more. I think it actually skews it more toward who has the platform and the popularity to drum up the votes.
That's a very good point.
And even less of like what ideas are actually viable. Now that's I think I'm speaking generally there. I think I would far rather see something around some different standards for what quality. I don't know if that's the best word to use, but for entry.
Let me pose this because that's to counterpoint my counterpoint. It's like when we do lug challenges and we do popular vote versus a build that's really done well versus a build that just happens to hit the right. I like this feeling, or it becomes a popularity thing because hey, I'll vote for your kid, you vote for my kid, and they get votes and they get and whatever. So you're right. By having it being the vote in all, it skews the whole concept because something that's really crappy could get 10,000 votes as opposed to
super PAC is better.
Something that's really well built, really well thought out doesn't get any votes because they just don't have the right platform to promote it.
Yeah. It is like a super PAC for Lego ideas, which is crazy.
Right. So now you got Matthew a little excited because you said super PAC.
Yeah.
But do you know now?
I have a lot of thoughts about voting, so you probably don't want to go.
Really?
Here's something to throw out that brings it the other way, though. What if the time that you had to vote was shorter? You had less amount of time. You had 5,000 instead of 10,000, but it's an elimination round thing. So 10 get picked with 5,000. You've got 2 weeks. Right?
But then all the Bionicle sets would win.
But then you trim that down. But then you trim that down so it keeps getting smaller and smaller and smaller. The reason why for that is to hopefully be a weeding out process, but also to make the time you have to advertise this thing for these people who do have a wide online presence to do this. It advances that, so it sort of robs that of a little bit of its power, right? And then that way you're basically forcing people, if you want to be involved in this process, to sort of go to the site, like to go to review the actual model rather than the advertisement, for lack of a better thing. I don't know if that would work. I mean, but I'm just trying to think what's the other way to do it, rather than.
To me, that almost sounds like a March Madness bracket runoff type scenario.
Yeah.
Which again still comes back to and to Boone's point, if you've got the platform to promote it, you're going to get more people involved, regardless of whether your idea is actually a viable thing that even Lego can produce to begin with.
I don't think there's any way to avoid that. I think the only thing you can do is try to devise something that lessens its effectiveness.
So maybe like the first thing that they should do is that literally no intellectual properties at all would be the first thing to limit it down considerably.
So you did.
I would love it if you go to upload something with an IP and you just got an error message that said did not upload.
Jeff, you broke up a little bit. Say that again.
Sorry, to the intellectual property idea, how many of the intellectual property ideas have become actual Lego sets just because they had all that advertisement for a half a year or a year when they were getting the votes, and the actual companies said, hey, that'd be cool to have a Lego set, so that when Lego does approach them, they're like, yes, right away, versus a longer negotiation period and stuff like that, or an outright no, right? So I mean, to me, like that just helps them get those better IPs that we might not have gotten in the first place.
I mean, I'll say as a heavy consumer of idea sets that I like the non-IP sets. Have I bought an IP set? Yes, I have. But the ones that excite me, the ship in the bottle, the tree, the Saturn V rocket, are things that I've never. It's not a TV show. It's not a movie. It's something really creative. And to me, when I think about ideas, the sets that I vote for are ones that show me something that maybe I've never even thought about before. And that gets me excited as a builder. That gets me excited as a consumer. For me personally, and I realize that not everyone's going to feel the same way, I would love them just to say, we will not accept any IP submissions. Show us your creativity, because there's great builders out there who do gorgeous things. And I would love to see more of those make it into the 10,000 vote threshold Lego's going to take a look at than do. And like the piano, I mean, the piano, if I had, $270 to throw at a Lego set that I don't know where I would display in my house, I would buy the piano. But, I'm intrigued because I want to build a piano just to see how it works.
Or what if you alternate back and forth?
Boom, what was your comment?
Sorry, I think that part of the underlying problem is that the votes don't mean enough. If we're talking about, well, do we make it more votes? Well, there's problems with that. Do we make it fewer votes and less time? Or is it the right number of votes but way too much time or whatever? I ultimately think that maybe there needs to be a way to make the votes really mean something more. And I hate that I'm going to say it, but I feel like the obvious way to me to make that happen, or an obvious way to make that happen, is to go the actual like Kickstarter direction where you have to pay to vote. You have to pledge to actually buy the set with your credit card number.
What about
before you get to vote? I don't know.
VIP points. You have to use VIP points to vote on.
They do that for voting too. I mean, for contests and prizes, you can spend 50 VIP points to join a giveaway for a minifigure. But Boone, I think you're onto something there.
No. Sorry, Boone, I don't mean to disagree with you.
No, hear me out.
No. You hear Jeff out first, then I'll hear you out. All right. No, HasLab does the same thing. HasLab does the same thing. All right, so we'll go back 4 years back to the big stupid barge that they released, right? Yeah. So that was.
I bought 2.
Jesus, man. Okay, so
do you know how many collection of comic books I have bought that have been done by Kickstarters by big companies? And
I feel ya. Lego makes $9 billion a year at least in profit. You are a Fortune 500 company. Do not do it so that you have to do a Kickstarter to pay for whatever. That's just ridiculous on so many different levels. It makes my brain hurt so much. All right, I'm done.
So, let me offer.
You described how often you've been voting on stuff lately, Jeff. So
I know, but I don't want to pay money.
You're describing why you're part of the problem. So
right,
that's what I'm saying.
I'm not putting the pre-order in. This doesn't matter, Boone. Way to pay attention.
Okay, I have an alternative, which is to make the votes matter more. You only get 5 votes per quarter. So you have to think about what are the 5 projects you're going to support. And you could switch from one to another, but you can never cast more than 5 votes in a quarter.
It's an interesting concept.
That dropping the number of votes you need to qualify for this, because
or not, because then it would really limit the fact that, hey, if you're going to get 10,000 votes, you got to make sure that you get those people and they're only giving you 1 out of their 5 votes, it's going to mean a much more that you got 10,000 versus today, where I could go on Lego Ideas and vote for literally every single project.
But I have 4 email addresses, so that means I can get 20 votes at least, right?
So maybe they got to do that, and maybe you got to have so much spending power in a year to be eligible for so many votes.
Oh,
hey man, that's elitism.
Hey guys, I gotta go. It's dinner time here. This has been such a riot and such a pleasure. I really appreciate you having me. Sorry to bow out while we're in the middle of an important conversation.
You're fine. You're welcome anytime, man. Thank you for. Hope you enjoyed the snow too. I hope you that sticks around.
Yeah, I hope we get to have a little bit of fun in it tomorrow. We'll see. All right, thank you all so much. Have a great evening.
Thanks for coming by.
Now that the special guest is gone, watch the numbers drop up here.
Actually, I think I'm the only one who sees those numbers, so I don't know.
Yeah, we can't.
Well, we're actually at 30, which is good. That's really, really good for us. So we were actually at 30, well over 30. Anyway, so I may have ADD'd out. Did we ever talk about maybe when you have the 20 to have another competition? We talked about the final 4 to have those then be voted yet again
to weed it down.
Yeah.
So taking what Matt said, where you have a certain number of votes per quarter, then you take the top winners of that quarter and run them all together. And same thing, you have 5 votes or whatever, choose, out of these 20 or 30 or whatever, choose the top 5.
Right.
I think that would work and then you wouldn't get competitions of, well, this one's the best voted mock, but it's really not that good. And just because someone didn't get the popularity, versus the earlier idea of top or just like 10 against 10 or 10 mocks at a time.
Yeah.
But we still run into the same problem of this is a licensed property that that the corporate now has to get involved with. Can we legally make this set and yada yada yada, versus a cool idea for a set that has nothing to do with a licensed property that we can just crank out right away because the only person we're dealing with is the designer.
But this is where I was going back to what I was originally saying. What Matty had backed up with, and that is that non-IP stuff. Great, I love it. Everyone else loves it. We're all fans here. We love that kind of stuff. But the IP stuff is the gateway drug to get non-Lego people buying, right?
Yeah.
So, whether how much of a pain in the butt it is for the company, if that is their goal or one of their major goals of Lego Ideas, that's just a bitter pill that they've got to take in order to meet that business goal, that business requirement.
And Lego Dimensions kind of opened that door, or was in tandem with Lego Ideas and Dimensions, because we got a whole bunch of 80s properties that you would have never thought that they'd make Lego sets of. And then sure enough, they started doing some of that stuff.
Yeah.
And that's 90% of why they're going to do the Sonic set. They're like, oh, we got that guy's head mold. Okay, we'll do it. That's fine. That kind of thing.
Well, I mean, if you think about it too, they came out with the Ghostbusters headquarter right after the Ghostbusters Ecto 1 was approved for Ideas too. So,
right.
The other
once they got a licensed theme, they can go to town on, as long as they're working in collaboration with them. So maybe we're just. It all comes down to we are doing Lego. We're doing work for Lego for free.
It's market research. But the other thing with the non-intellectual property sets is that it's the piece count. So the blacksmith shop, the original blacksmith shop, what I thought was just a gorgeous design, and they really simplified it to make it marketable. And I totally get that they have their business reasons for doing that. But, there's some stuff on Ideas that is insanely big that the company's never going to mass produce. I mean, it's one thing to sell a, $700 Millennium Falcon when there's an enormous fan base for a set that size. But you're not going to sell a, 13,000 castle set. It's just, it's just too much.
So, and I wanted to bring that up because 321 pieces. And we don't get many Lego. I mean, I want to say the Tron set, the Odyssey or the Rover. There have been very few Lego Ideas, and the reason this is probably 300 pieces is because it's a lot of little pieces. I mean, most of the big Lego Idea sets that have been coming through have been 500-600 pieces, we don't get small Lego idea sets. It is unfortunate. I mean, Gil and I would go over this time and time again. The bang for your buck is a $30 set. And we're not seeing those in Lego ideas.
Well, now, but Lego has seen the market on the Exo suit. It did not sell well. It did not sell well at all. And so that probably put the brakes on them really wanting to bring back Classic Space.
Adventure Time did not
came
sell
along, honestly.
And like saying with Tron, I saw Tron on the shelves forever.
Yep.
Forever and ever.
And Adventure Time is a shelf warmer. Like, I've talked to people in the store, and they said, we sold a bunch the first weekend, and everybody who wanted it bought it the first weekend.
Gil, don't you talk poorly about Tron.
Yeah, I love Tron.
Adventure Time.
I've literally watched the reboot about 10 times.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
So what we're saying here, acknowledging, is that if it's a large Lego idea set, it will sell.
Yeah.
It will,
I think so, because of the niche market you're going after. Because the same people, and like if you follow that same idea that non-Lego people are buying it, think about when we're all at the shows. What sells? Big, baby. Someone comes up, you got something that Freak built, right? Some 37-foot long spaceship in that. Everyone's talking about that thing forever, right? But if you can have something amazing that's, like that big, but the build, the complexity, it's like, to us as fans, we're like, wow, this is amazing. It's not going to stick in the mind for non-Lego people. They recognize size. Like that's been my experience. But.
Well, there's also, and along with that, and as I'm thinking about it, if Lego is going to produce a $150 idea set, they're probably not going to produce as many sets as they would a $30 set, because they figure, well, we gotta make enough of these to make it worthwhile, and so they wind up overproducing. Where for a larger set they don't have to make as many, and they sell the number that they expect to sell, and it's a win. But
also that big box is a lot of noise on the shelf.
Yeah, but you're absolutely right with the bigger bang. People always remember it because it's a wow factor. I mean,
and it's non-Lego people that remember it.
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, if you show people Chris's big white spaceship, they remember it.
Rest in peace.
They always remember it. But if you show them Matthew's little tiny house, they like, I don't remember that.
Man, that's cold.
We have side conversations, and I've been on the bottom end of the tire all day today. So it's time for me to start giving it back out.
They're gonna remember this pink baby.
Well, that's true. That pink monstrosity is going to be burned into people's minds for years.
Y'all were being nice when the guest was here. It's all going downhill.
We want him to come back.
I'm gonna have little girls wanting my autograph when they see this pink building. I'm just telling you.
Well, I tell you what, I really would like to. This has been a great talk. We got a lot of folks viewing, but we are at almost 2 hours, so we need to land the plane. But why don't we just return to ideas again next week and talk about it again? I think it's worth the time. I'd love to have, because I know Meredith is passionate about it, because she's in the business world. She has a lot of get her in this conversation as well. So. Anybody have final thoughts? Anybody didn't get an idea out there that they wanted to? And yeah, for those of you that were in the side chat and we weren't paying attention, we were talking to each other and we missed it. So sorry about that, but we'll do better next time. But you can make sure to like and subscribe and all that kind of stuff. I got 1 like on the video. Throw some more likes. That'll get our video out. So if you're watching right now, hit the like button. That would be awesome, just so we can have some more likes on this channel. So anybody else? Jeff Van Winnen, you got one? Yeah.
Just a quick comment to the Dimensions thing earlier. You were saying that they got a lot of property in there, but Dimensions was marketed by Warner, and most of those properties were Warner Brothers properties.
Valid point.
Marketing for a whole bunch of cool things, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's true.
Which they are using. So.
Yeah, but maybe not anymore. But
well, this is true.
All right, hey guys, thank y'all for starting the chat off. My son is enjoying his Fortnite right now, but I am now the proud father of a 16-year-old. He'll be getting his license sometime next week. And I'm going to slow my my midlife crisis wild oats probably by getting a RAV4. So yeah. So it's Toyota for me. Thank you very much. So anyway, thank y'all for joining us. You guys are special friends. Thank y'all for getting this started. Thank you for folks being out in the chat and chatting with us tonight. This has been a great show. Thanks for Boone for joining us. And Jeff, I just want to say something. Jeff Van Winden, your camera has this cool little glitch every once in a while that I see. And it makes me think the Matrix is off there in Canada. So if you had a cat pass by twice, that would have been super amazing. But it's the best.
It's a cheapy Amazon scam, so.
Canada is the Matrix.
That's right. There you go. All right. Y'all have a great night. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Like and subscribe, share this around, and join us on Monday for Messy Monday. Don't forget, did y'all talk about the building challenge? Don't forget to throw down your building challenge. Dark gray, orange, sand green, and trans clear. Boone said he was going to be building for that too. So join us in that. There it is. There's the colors. Build a space mock with those colors and amaze us on the March the 8th. All right. Y'all have a good night. Good night, everybody. Have a great night.
See ya.